Welcome to Detroit. This is the 2026 Detroit Auto Show, International Auto Show, right?
I don't know if they actually call it international anymore because it's pretty.
It's pretty Detroit-centric, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is a
none
good
of
thing.
the European automakers are here. Most of the Japanese and Asians aren't. Aren't here.
This is really almost like true Michigan show.
It's about as true. It's about as Michigan as it gets. Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on this episode of TFL Talking Trucks podcast. With me on this episode is my friend Sam Abel-Samed. You have your own podcast. You have your own. I mean, you do many things in the automotive industry.
My own little empire.
A little empire, and you've been in the industry for about 4 decades, right?
Yeah. I actually, last year was my 40th year since I started as an engineering co-op student working in the auto industry.
There you go. So you understand this industry quite well. So what I want to do, this is our best of Detroit. So we want to walk around and I can just kind of show what's here and maybe get some insight, especially from you, about what, state of the industry a little bit, what trucks and big SUVs are here. So we're starting here in the Ram booth at Stellantis because they actually have a lot going on today.
Yeah, they do. And right here, we've got the Ram 1500 Rev, which eventually might even go on sale.
Yes.
That's the most recent I've heard, second half of this year.
Yeah.
But this is the range extended electric Ram.
So we can show the badge actually.
Yeah.
So actually this looks almost like a production model, right?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
I actually saw one on the road driving here this morning. And apparently there's about 200 of these now that are out being driven around by Stellantis employees.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of inside information because about an hour ago I spoke with Tim Kuniskis, the CEO of Ram, and I asked him on the due date on the Rev, and he said kind of TBD. So he said that they had a lot going on. They're launching the TRX and several other things, and so stay tuned.
Yeah, I mean they still have vehicles that don't have Hellcats and Hemis in them yet that they have to
have to deliver, right? So. But this is quite interesting. This truck, let's look inside of this truck because I've seen some prototypes before, but this seems to be almost finished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, the thing you got to keep in mind is that, this is, the cab is basically standard Ram 1500. So there's, unlike a lot of the prototypes that we see where, you'll see surfaces that don't have all the proper graining on them and everything. This is stock 1500. It's like any other 1500. It's what's underneath that makes the difference.
Exactly. And what's underneath is electric motors, one in the front, one in the rear. So it's all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. And we have a Pentastar under the hood.
Yeah. Yeah. So
which is a generator, right?
Yeah. So you got about 650 horsepower from the two motors that are driving the vehicle.
Yeah.
You got a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack and a 27-gallon fuel tank that is fueling the Pentastar V6 that is not connected to the wheels in any way. All it's doing is driving a generator that, as your battery depletes, that generator is producing electricity to keep the battery charged so that when you're towing, you can, unlike with a Lightning or other electric trucks,
even Silverado EV, right?
You can just keep on going.
Yeah, exactly. And also, the capability of the towing rating on this is 14,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's got heavy duty hubs.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at the hubs on this thing, it's 8 lugs. I mean, so this should be quite interesting. But right now, for Ram, it's a lot about internal combustion, right?
Yeah.
So let's walk over a little bit further because we don't have pricing on this yet, right? Although Ram actually told me that the Rev range extender will be cheaper than all electric.
So you got the plug right here.
And it's not
it's a CCS.
Max.
Yeah, it's still CCS. But who knows? I mean, if they keep delaying this, by the time they actually build it, it might get an NACS support.
Exactly.
But
do you agree with that?
Yeah.
That the range extender could be more affordable than an all-electric truck?
Yeah, because when you look at the cost of the battery, what they originally announced with the BEV version of this, the standard BEV version was going to be 160 kilowatt hour battery.
Yeah.
And this is 92. So if you're taking out about 70 kilowatt hours of battery,
almost halving it.
You're taking out about somewhere between $9,000 and $10,000 of cost just from that battery. And then to add the the range extender back in and the fuel system and the exhaust and everything, it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000. So theoretically,
You're still cutting costs.
at least cost, I don't know how they're going to price it, but at least from a cost perspective, it's probably going to be about $4,000 to $5,000 cheaper for Stellantis to build that than for the standard range BEV that they were going to do.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, we're standing next to a truck that's the opposite of the one we just looked at.
Yeah.
This is a 5.7 liter Hemi that's supercharged with a Whipple. It's about 650, because this is called the 650,
Right.
which is basically identical horsepower level as that electric range extender.
Right. But I think it'll be interesting, when you guys get a chance to hopefully
drag race
these back to back.
Because this one is probably lighter in weight.
It's probably lighter,
yes.
but I'll bet you that one might still be quicker.
Because of that electric torque, right?
That instant electric torque and all-wheel drive. And is this all-wheel drive or
it should be.
Or rear-wheel drive?
I mean, I hope it's all-wheel drive too, because otherwise,
even if it's all-wheel drive, the power delivery is not going to be the same as what you're going to get out of the electric motor. So I want to see you guys take these two to the airstrip.
Yeah, but what do you think about this e-torque, this supercharged Ram 1500 here? By the way, it's coming, with the direct connection.
Right.
It
so
still
you
has
order that
e-torque.
through a dealer.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the 5.7 Hemi has the e-torque on there as standard, and I think to simplify the installation, keep things as to minimize the complexity, it's easier to leave that on there, because otherwise you would, if you take that off, you're going to have to put on an alternator and set up the electrical system for for an alternator. Yeah, so this is taking the place of the alternator on a traditional engine.
Yeah, and there's a small battery.
Yeah.
In the system as well.
Yeah.
Not humongous one.
Yeah, it's about a half kilowatt hour.
Yeah, very tiny by comparison. But it's interesting because this looks like complexity, but it's a little bit counterintuitive that this would be easier to do.
It actually simplifies, because that also takes the place of your starter motor.
Yes.
So there's no traditional starter motor, no alternator. You just have that one unit.
Bam, and it's driven by the serpentine belt. So it's right there. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, there's also the TRX. We've done many stories already about the TRX. It's coming back, and they're saying kind of middle of this year.
Yeah.
Like summertime. And are you excited by this? What do you think?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I always love hearing the sound of a Hellcat, of a supercharged V8. But the reality is, driving it, having driven the RHO and the first generation TRX, the RHO was just as much fun to drive. Yeah, it didn't have quite the sound, maybe not quite as quick ultimately, but I'm sure there will absolutely be an audience for this truck. There will be people that want the most that they can possibly get out of it, and the 777 horsepower now.
777s.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about Las Vegas for some reason. Pulling that handle and seeing 777s.
I'm sure it's just a complete coincidence that they tuned it to exactly 777 horsepower.
It couldn't be 776, right?
No. Or 778. Yeah. That would just not work. Yeah.
Okay. No. So I was actually at my local dealer near Denver, Colorado, and the orders for these are not open yet.
Right.
2027s. This is a 2027 model. But my dealer said they have a list, a spreadsheet of 30 people waiting for this new TRX.
Sure. Yeah.
Already.
And it's cheaper than the
Raptor R.
It's cheaper than the Raptor R.
Yeah.
And it's also cheaper than the final edition of the old TRX was.
Yes, which is a little sad.
Yeah, although it is significantly more expensive than the TRX was when it launched, which is the one you guys owned.
Because it started in 2021 model year at $72,000.
Yeah.
And the one we purchased had a couple of options, several things, at $77,000. This is $102,000.
Right, including the $2,595 destination charge now.
Which is a humongous charge. Yeah. And you and I, on our podcast, we talk about this because it's $2,600 almost.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. All right, let's keep moving. I noticed a really cool Gladiator. Can we go see it?
Yeah, let's go see the Gladiator.
So Ram, Stellantis has a big presence at this show this year. I mean, their booth is pretty tremendous, and they have Camp Jeep area as well.
Camp Jeep, so that people can, when the consumers come in, they can go try out the Jeeps on, even if they if they buy a Jeep and never take it off-road, they can still kind of get a little bit of that experience right here on the show floor.
Yeah. And we're walking by several vehicles, so if you want to learn more about the Recon or maybe the Cherokee, come back to our car podcast, right?
Yeah.
We're focused on pickup trucks in this particular area. Dude, what do you think about the look of this? I love the military look.
Yeah, I like this look. I like nice, clean, kind of a little more subtle, but the matching wheels and the olive drab paint on the bodywork, I think it looks really neat.
It reminds of the original Willys, Jeeps. Let's look at the front a little bit. But I want to bring up a point, since we're looking at this Gladiator and talking about Jeep, is that recently, basically it was confirmed that their plug-in hybrid 4xe technology, not the entire 4xe nameplate, right?
Right, 4xe is applying to everything that they build with a plug.
Yes, but plug-in technology is going away, at least for now.
Yeah, so the plug-in hybrids that they have on the Wrangler, the Grand Cherokee, and that they were planning for the
Gladiator
too, as well as the Pacifica plug-in hybrid, all those are being discontinued.
Have you heard about the Hornet at all?
I haven't heard anything on the Hornet. I'll have to ask.
Because it has a plug-in version of it as well.
Yeah, but that's a completely different system that they have on there.
Okay.
But these all four of these vehicles, or three of them that were actually in production, Stellantis has had a lot of issues with recalls on those. They've had some problems with fires on them, and so they've gone through a long string of recalls.
That's so unfortunate.
So
yeah.
I think given that they, with the rollback and emission standards, they don't need to have these in the lineup anymore now. And the problems they've had with it, trying to get those sorted out, they decided it's better to just cut their losses on that.
Do you think it'll come back in a short order, like 1 or 2 years down the line? Do you think it might return?
I think it's more likely, it's probably more like 3 to 4 years.
So not that quick.
Probably be a next generation system, maybe based on some new battery technology, some different suppliers. But at some point, I think they'll probably bring it back.
So it's not as quick as some people might think, right?
Yeah, and what we might actually see is, depending on the success of that Ram Rev and the Grand Wagoneer our E-Rev over here.
Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, we might actually see them go the E-Rev route with these instead of the traditional plug-in hybrid.
That might be actually very interesting.
So you could do an E-Rev Wrangler or Grand Cherokee
or Gladiator, for example.
And instead of the Pentastar, maybe put the 4-cylinder in there, the 2-liter 4-cylinder.
So let's just show this Grand Wagoneer. This is basically the cousin to that Ram Rev that we were looking at, right?
Also with a plug. Still a CCS, but
okay.
Yeah, it's the same powertrain that's in that Ram Rev, but with a smaller fuel tank, because this has a shorter wheelbase, so it's only a 20-gallon fuel tank.
Versus 27
in
over
the
there. But it's got a fresh face, right?
Yeah.
They just redid the face on the Grand Wagoneer.
And look at this. Look what it says.
Has a Jeep badge?
Yeah.
What?
You don't have to go looking inside the headlamp cluster for the little tiny Jeep.
So what we're referring to is when the Grand Wagoneer and Wagoneer launched, it was like a sub-brand, right? For Jeep, and it had no Jeep badges whatsoever, and it didn't make sense to a lot of us.
Yeah, so it just had a big Wagoneer across the front and across the tailgate.
But I think now it's proper, right?
Yeah.
It's part of, you buy them at the same dealership, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to a Wagoneer deallership.
Right, exactly. I like this new front end look on here, the new lighting and everything.
Yeah,
I
think I mean, it wasn't a complete redesign, obviously, because the vehicle is mostly the same. They just changed the headlamps and kind of the face of it, right?
Yeah, and they took a lot from the design of the Wagoneer S, the EV, and added this light strip in here. And I think it's a good look. It makes it look a little sleeker.
Yeah. So the Gladiator soldiers on. Do you know anything? Can you share anything? Because the Gladiator is getting long in the tooth. I mean, it came out as a 2020 model. Have you heard anything about like redesigning it or anything like that?
Yeah, I think 2028 timeframe is when, 27 or probably late 27 or early 28 is when we'll see a next generation. And I think this is going to share a platform with the Ram midsize truck, the Dakota. So recently they had an event, and Tim confirmed that the midsize Ram truck is going to be called Dakota. And
that's at Toledo.
That's going to be built in Toledo, yeah.
Which is where these are built, right?
Yep. And
the Wrangler, too.
So we'll probably see them share an architecture, all based off of variation of the Stella frame architecture. So we'll probably see an update of both this and the Wrangler around a similar time frame.
That would be exciting, because I heard a lot of rumors and a lot of forums talking about that this was a one generation vehicle, that it was going to go away, one and done type of thing. But I was hoping it wouldn't be true.
Yeah, we'll
and
see.
It seems like it's not quite.
Plans are changing all the time, so it's entirely possible that they might decide not to continue with this. They might decide that the Dakota is a better way to go for a midsize, or they might keep this around.
I'm hoping they keep this. And by the way,
if they're using the same platform,
why not?
It's relatively, and you've got a lot of the same sheet metal from the Wrangler. It wouldn't be that crazy expensive to do both.
I hope they go that way.
Yeah.
Speaking of changes, we see a lot of quick changes.
Yeah.
In the industry these days, right?
Constantly, yeah.
You've been around, like you said, industry for 40 years plus. It used to take a lot longer, isn't it, to just make adjustments, or is it true?
Well, it was as much that we had changed. I think the time it takes to develop a new vehicle, it's gotten a little bit faster, but it's still 3 to 4 years to develop a new vehicle from scratch. But what has been changing a lot is the product plans. So they'll start down the path of developing something and decide, no, that's the wrong direction. We need to drop this and do something different. And so that's something that we haven't really seen so much of before.
Yeah, just kind of readjustment of the timelines, I guess.
Yeah, adjusting timelines and adjusting what products they're doing, based on market conditions. You got changing regulations, changing consumer demand. They have to adapt to that.
So we just walked into the Ford space. Ford obviously also has a gigantic presence at the show, a very large booth. We kind of walked by past a couple of Broncos, and I did it on purpose because it's a whole different kind of show.
Yeah.
But in the truck space, there's still, actually they dropped a couple of hints. Were you at the event last night?
No,
at the
I was
off-road
not
event?
that one, but I was at a backgrounder on Monday.
So check this out, because one of the Ford executives was up there yesterday, and I was there. He said, oh, by the way, the Ranger Tremor will be returning. So that was a nugget that I kind of caught in that presentation. And also a special Carhartt version of the Super Duty was going to come. And they teased it with a wheel.
Okay.
They showed a wheel
that
kind of looked like, they said it was inspired by a Detroit manhole cover that you see on the street.
Yeah, they've got some really interesting manhole covers in this town, especially cast with some intricate designs on them. And so it would make sense to have a badge that takes inspiration from that.
Yeah, so obviously they haven't updated their Super Duty in a while. 2023 was kind of the year where they kind of changed the face of it, the front end. They did some engine updates.
Yeah, they did a lot of upgrades for 23.
Yeah.
And they considered it a generational upgrade, and there was some pretty substantial changes done at that time.
So there was also a lot of rumors. We live in a day and age where you see a lot of like AI-based imagery or video, and somebody told me
but you guys would never create anything like that.
No, but I want to differentiate what I'm doing is because I'm not saying a Caterpillar pickup truck is going to be here tomorrow. That's not what I'm doing. I've done something before where I have an idea in my head, like a lower TRX, and I use AI just to create that image. Yeah. But we're very clear, this is my rendering.
Yeah.
This is my thoughts, not, oh look, it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Well, if you look at my YouTube feed, you'll see all kinds of nonsense popping up on there.
And the reason why I mention this is because somebody said, at Detroit in 2026, we're going to see an 8-liter Power Stroke diesel that's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, there's no engine news here.
No.
So, and also somebody said there's going to be a new Duramax V8, 8.3 liter. That's also not here. Yeah. We'll show the GM in a second. So Ford has the entire lineup here. The Ranger Raptor is here, which we actually used to own a TFL truck.
Yeah, that's still my favorite of the off-road midsize trucks.
Above all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would agree with you.
The others.
It's just, it seems like the right size, the right power.
Yeah, it's a nice balance. It's like the ATV, the Canyon AT4X AEV edition. It's awesome, but it's also really high up.
You have
very,
to like
very heavy.
jump into it.
It's funny. When I had one last summer, I was looking at the payload sticker, and it had a payload of 850 pounds. My next door neighbors have a 2022 Maverick hybrid, just the base, the one they used to sell for 20 grand, which has a 1,500 pound payload capacity.
Almost twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And these Rangers actually have decent payload. In fact, if we check this one, I'll bet you it'll be around 1,400 probably.
Probably, yeah.
Which is actually, I'm a big dude, 1,340.
Okay.
So we're not far off.
That's still respectable.
Yeah, we're not far off because, I'm not going to say exactly how much I weigh, but if you put four of me,
if you put four adult men into a canyon, in this thing, you're still going to have several hundred pounds left.
A little bit left.
In that canyon,
you're going to be near the top.
You have nothing.
Yes.
Can't take anything else with you.
Speaking of Mavericks, there's a couple of Mavericks here. Can you tell me a little bit about NACTOY? What happened there?
So in the North American Car, Truck, and Utility of the Year, the Truck of the Year was won by the Maverick Lobo, the street truck.
One.
Yeah,
this one. Okay.
This was the winner.
Oh, there it is. It even has a plaque on it.
Of course.
Yes.
They have all that stuff prepared in advance, just in case they win.
Okay. So that was announced today. So
that was announced,
fresh,
about 3 hours ago.
Fresh off the presses.
Yep.
So to speak. So Lobo is a new trim level, really, but it's also kind of a signal, at least in my mind, and I want to see if you agree, that kind of the street, slightly lowered truck are making a resurgence. In a way.
I mean, with trucks being so popular, manufacturers are looking for any way to potentially expand the market, and so the regular standard Mavericks and Rangers and so on, already very popular. But what other niches can they find, based on the existing platforms they've got? And so this, based on the Maverick, there's already the F-150 Lobo. I would be surprised if we don't see a Ranger Lobo at some point.
Oh, it's over here. Let's take a look.
For the F-150 Lobo, they didn't lower it as much as they did with the Maverick.
Yeah, that's my kind of a comment. So they made it level. So if you take a wide view, sorry about that. If you take a wide view, they lowered it in the back about 2 inches.
Right.
So it looks level, which I like.
Yeah.
But there's still space. There's still a lot of space between the wheel and the fender.
Yeah.
Right? So I kind of wanted it to look much lower.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do that at some point.
If it's popular, right?
Yeah, if it's popular. If they think that there's a market for it, they will certainly build it.
And then you mentioned something else, like you mentioned possibility of a Ranger Lobo.
I wouldn't rule out that possibility.
Ford hasn't said anything about this.
No, they've not said anything. But if these two sell well, it would make sense for them to do a Ranger. And they're doing tremors across the board.
Exactly.
So Lobos across the lineup as well would make sense.
That makes sense. Because they announced the Tremor Ranger coming back.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Well, there's a Lightning there.
Yeah.
But it's been discontinued.
Yeah. But they still have a bunch left to sell. So.
Okay.
And since this is mainly a consumer show, people from around Southeast Michigan, Northwestern Ohio are going to be coming here over the next week and a half to check out the new vehicles as they get ready to buy.
Yeah.
This is something that they want to sell off.
So Ford says in a couple of years the Lightning will return.
Yep.
Right, but as a range extender.
Right.
Very similar to the Ram.
Yes.
Right.
So instead of a frunk here, you will have some kind of engine and a generator.
Which is kind of a shame because I like this covered, weather-protected space that's in the front.
Yeah, I think Ford did a lot right with this truck when they built it. They got it to market quickly.
It rides really nice.
Yeah, it's a great truck. The only thing that it's not good at is towing long distances.
Exactly.
Everything else, it's arguably the best F-150.
I agree.
For everything except long distance towing.
I agree.
And it's a shame that they're not going to have the BEV version around. I would love to see them keep that and offer the E-Rev as well. But given the market realities, the E-Rev is probably the right choice for them to be making for this larger truck.
I think so. And then as the technology matures, right, the batteries may get cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, as you start to get the LMR batteries that they've talked about, or structural battery packs.
Different chemistries, right?
Get solid state, get higher energy density, and bring the cost of those batteries down. Then maybe come back and revisit the electric truck.
Have you heard any rumblings of? Remember the Model T moment?
Yes.
So they talked about a mid-size-ish, smallish electric
it's
truck.
Be a Maverick-sized truck.
Something like this.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything else? Are we going to see a concept or something else?
Yeah, we will start to see some stuff from Ford over the next several months.
Okay.
So
that would be exciting.
It's scheduled to go into production around the end of the year.
In 26?
The end of 2026.
Oh.
Go on sale in 27, probably first half of 27.
Okay.
But production towards the end of the year. And they will start showing us more details on that truck this year. I did get one interesting detail last week. I was at a dinner while I was at CES. I was at a dinner with some Ford executives. And, if you follow the EV space, one of the things that a lot of manufacturers have had issues with is 12-volt batteries dying.
Yeah.
And when you guys bought a Cybertruck last year, that one had no 12-volt battery in it.
No, it wasn't.
48-volt.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be in the universal electric vehicle platform as well, the Ford
Very
EV.
interesting.
So,
are you for that? Are you pretty excited by that?
Yeah. We've had 48-volt technology around for things like mild hybrids, like that e-torque system on the Ram, for quite some time.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's still a lot of other systems in the vehicles that are designed to run at 12 volts.
All the lights, all the switches.
Yeah, all the ventilation fans,
computers,
everything. Yeah, it's designed to run at 12 volts, and so that's why you had this mix of 12 and 48 volt architectures on vehicles. Well, what's happened in the last few years is a lot of the suppliers that build those components have started to actually redesign those things to run at 48 volts.
So you think it was a little bit. Catalyst was a Cybertruck, maybe?
That was probably one of the catalysts, yeah.
Okay.
And just in general, I think there's interest from the industry broadly to go to 48 volts because 48 higher voltage, you can make the wires thinner, you can reduce the amount of copper, you can reduce some of the costs, simplify things, and so you're going to see more 48 volt systems in the coming years.
It's
exciting. That Ford electric truck is going to be one of the first from a legacy automaker.
From Ford, yeah. I'm actually really happy to hear that because I've studied the Cybertruck system. I was looking and listening and studying that system, and just the amount of power, and also, like you said, weight reduction, cost reduction potentials, and also the heat pump.
Yeah.
Right, how it integrates with those climate control systems.
Yeah, so when they did the Lightning, they used a lot of off-the-shelf stuff from standard F-150.
Yeah.
A lot of the ventilation, heating and ventilation elements, and that added to the costs. And so with this new vehicle, it's being designed really from the ground up as an EV and really being optimized for that. And I think that's going to, that smaller truck, I think will be a much better application for most people that are interested in going electric and want a pickup truck rather than the full size.
All right, so now we've traveled and we're standing in the GMC booth. So this is a General Motors area. There's also Chevrolet. So let's do a quick rundown. So in the GMC space, we have the heavy duty truck, light duty, and also you could see prominently a couple of electric Sierras, right?
Yep. And don't forget the Corvette ZR1X.
Yes. Maybe we can get a glance at that. But I think that's interesting that GM is actually expanding their lineup of electric trucks because we have an AT4, kind of an off-road model. We have a little bit more basic LT model as well.
Yeah, they've kind of shifted, like with the Silverado and Sierra EVs, they've kind of shifted the model lineups a little bit because when they launched Silverado EV, you had the work truck and you had this high-end RST model. And they've gotten rid of that.
Yeah.
And they're letting GMC handle that
luxury
truck with the Denali.
Yeah.
And so you've got the work truck and the LT, I think, or LTZ. And then the Trail Boss.
Trail Boss, yeah.
And then GMC, they've also got an AT4 and the Denali.
Well, you can see it here. They also have the elevation. The elevation. That's GMC language.
Yeah.
For kind of a base.
Yeah. So now you got a little bit less overlap. They're filling in the gaps in there.
And the pricing coming down, right? So with smaller batteries, a little bit simpler equipment, right? You're starting with about 65 grand. Maybe with Destination it's going to be more, because Destinations, like we said, are growing and growing.
One important thing to keep in mind with General Motors is that
they include it.
They in the prices that they advertise, they include the destination charge. So that's out the door.
Thank you, General Motors. Because I've noticed Toyota doesn't do that. Some others don't do that.
Almost no one does.
Ford doesn't do that.
No.
Nobody else does it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That these prices are actually true.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's great. There's the 84X AEV edition that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's very tall.
Tall, but for if you want an off-roader, an off-road version, an off-road GM midsize truck, this is the top of the line.
So I was talking to Case, my colleague, about this, and we really call this guy the rock crawler.
Yeah.
I know these trucks, any truck
this
will
is
do
as close
everything.
as you get to a Wrangler from General Motors.
Exactly. Because it's sitting higher, it's using 35-inch tall tires from the factory, it's got the suspension and the locking differentials to back it up.
And because of the 35s, that means they can't mount the spare tire underneath the bed, so you have to use up a big chunk of your bed.
Yeah.
And that tire is heavy.
Yes.
Because when I had this thing, I had to haul some brush to the township compost site.
Okay.
And so I took that thing out of there and trying to lift that thing back in to put it back.
I think you're talking, what, about 60, 70 pounds maybe?
Yeah, at least that.
Yeah, at least that. And also visibility can
Yes.
suffer
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
you basically have no visibility on the back of this
because
truck.
the rear view mirror is coming through.
And they don't have the digital camera mirror on the Canyon, so you basically don't see anything out the back, because between the spare tire and then the headrest on the other side there, it basically blocks off the entire rear view.
So you kind of have to use your side mirrors,
Yeah.
kind of like a commercial
Or
truck.
just drive like a typical Michigan driver that doesn't use their mirrors anyway.
Okay, we won't talk about that. Let's.
Hey, I live here, so I can say.
Well,
that.
yeah. Let's swing around the Corvette CX, because that's a gorgeous thing, and we could check into Chevy, what Chevy's up to. But like you said, so Detroit Auto Show, it's in January, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, it switched to the summer for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
But truly, it's like the first show of the season,
Yes.
right, of the year.
Yep.
And it used to have all the manufacturers here, right?
Yeah, it used to be everybody from around the world was here.
Yeah.
When Chinese automakers first started coming to North America, this is where they displayed in like 2007, 2008.
And now it's just really focused on Detroit, really,
so
Michigan.
While we're here, that Corvette ZR1X, they just released a video yesterday.
I saw that.
Quarter mile, 8.67 seconds.
Yes.
At 159 miles an hour.
And a 0 to 60 of 1.6 something.
Yeah, 1.6 and change. Yeah.
It's all-wheel drive, right? So
Yes,
that's helping.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
helping
so they
the
combined
launch.
the twin-turbo LT5
Yeah.
with the hybrid system from the E-Ray on the front axle.
Yeah.
So 1,250 horsepower.
And really, that's 1.6 something time is faster than any Tesla Plaid.
Yeah.
Technically speaking.
Yeah.
So combustion.
Theoretically, if they ever build the next Tesla Roadster, it's supposed to be faster than that.
Sure.
But,
Using rocket boosters, right?
Yeah, but who knows if they'll ever actually build that.
Well, they announced that Tesla Roadster, 7 years ago?
2017.
Okay. Almost 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually used to own a Colorado Trail Boss.
Yeah, I remember.
So mine was an interesting color.
I actually like that color.
Oh, I appreciate it, because a lot of people make fun of me for that color. But
I'm a fan of bold colors. I think there's way too many silver and black and white and monochrome shades.
Ford booth had some color.
Yeah, they did.
With those Mavericks. Yeah. But this is an interesting edition. This is celebrating America, USA.
Yeah.
With 1776, kind of a 250th anniversary of the country. So it's got a couple of, the sports bar brackets.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be
more for mounting your lights on it. Things like that.
It's not supposed to be a roll bar. So please don't roll your vehicles, okay?
You don't want to roll your vehicle anyway, regardless.
Yes. So, and then over there's some color. Over there, there's a Trail Boss.
Yep, Silverado EV.
Silverado EV. But once again, there is no Duramax news.
No.
Right?
No news at all from GM here this week.
But I think they're also showing, and I'll do a separate video about this, they're showing their 2027 Bolt. So the Bolt is coming back.
Yeah.
So
there's one right there. Nice bright orange.
Oh, hey, there's some color.
Yeah.
There's some
color. A bunch of color here. It's great.
All right. So now we got to transition. And we have to
Toyota?
Go Toyota, yes. Yeah. We have to go to Toyota because we mentioned, all of the big three, but Toyota is a humongous many. Are they make most in the world?
They are the largest automaker in the world. Yes, they sell about 10 million vehicles a year globally.
So that's not necessarily true. They're not the biggest in the U.S. by vehicle count.
No, I think they're second.
They're up there.
GM. Yeah,
they're up there. Also, not tremendous news, right?
Yeah. No news that I'm aware of from Toyota, but they have their Tundras and their Tacomas here.
I want to mention some news as far as sales numbers are concerned. I love numbers, right? So as we're looking at some of the trucks here, their Tacoma, where is the Tacoma? Their Tacoma the sales were going through the roof.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I saw that. What was it? Was it 278,000
last
year? Yeah.
I think that was the best year ever for Tacoma in the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, it's been the best-selling midsize pickup in North America for a long time, and for a lot of good reasons. It's generally been very reliable. I mean, there's some things that some of the competitors do better. Certainly in terms of cabin space.
And maybe payload and towing. Some of the domestics have higher numbers.
Yeah, but overall, they cover a lot of ground with this truck, and it's also one of the few. One of the only ones that's still available with a choice of crew cab or just a regular extended cab. And I think you can still get the SR5 single cab, right?
Yeah, but it has no. It doesn't have the rear doors, but it's still an extended cab.
Okay. Yes. But still, it's an option you can't get from the Detroit automakers anymore. They only do crew cabs
in the midsizers.
Yeah.
And also, the only new truck available with a manual.
Yes. Yeah. Because they dropped the Frontier manual, right?
Frontier manual is dropped when they upgraded to the engine, the 3.8, and the Gladiator manual transmission is also discontinued.
Okay.
So if you wanted to row your own gears, the Tacoma for 2026 is the only game in town. And I wanted to ask you about this because Tacoma has been around. Well, they used to be called the pickup, right? Mm-hmm. But the Tacoma name continuously has been around. Ford kind of walked away from the Ranger market for many years. What was your perspective on that?
I think Ford had some interesting rationale for discontinuing the Ranger in North America in like 2010 and 2011 when they did.
Yes.
Which was that, the cost differential to build a Ranger versus an F-150 was pretty small. And the Ranger wasn't really getting better fuel economy than an F-150 at the time. So it didn't, for a lot of customers, it didn't necessarily make sense to buy a Ranger over an F-150. But as the price of F-150s kept climbing through the 2010s, then they had to rethink that and said, okay, we need a more affordable offering. And so they brought back the Ranger to North America. Plus, there was obviously some demand. Toyota was still selling a ton of these. Nissan was selling a ton of Frontiers. GM had brought back the Canyon in Colorado and were doing well. So Ford brought back the Ranger, to give a price point below where F-150 was. As F-150, climbed into the 50,000s and up price range, then Ranger fit into that mid-30s to $50,000 range. And then they brought in the Maverick at the bottom end of the range.
Yeah, but isn't it true? Because I started really, I was always an enthusiast, but I entered the industry in about 2011. The Ranger was the best seller, in the 90s and the early 2000s. It outsold Tacomas, right? Yeah. And that was kind of a bummer in my mind for Ford.
Yeah, well, Ford didn't update it for a long time, and then they decided...
It kind of got stale.
It got stale, and then as the market shifted from the more compact to the midsize trucks, they didn't really update the Ranger to fit that market, and so eventually they just discontinued it entirely. And then but they discontinued it in North America. They kept it globally. The rest of the world got a new generation mid-size Ranger, which eventually we got here as well.
I know. Yeah. But I want to mention, you mentioned, the overall size of the vehicle. I'm not sure how big your garage here is in Michigan. My Colorado garage at my house is about 19 feet long. So an F-150 usually doesn't fit lengthwise.
Yeah.
And sometimes height.
That's another consideration for
height
customers.
is a challenge too.
Yeah, if they want to park their trucks inside the garage, buying a full size, in most places you can't do that.
And the heavy duty, forget about it. That Silverado over there is towering over most things.
Yeah. Well, my garage, I can fit a mid-size truck in there, but my garage door is only 7 feet high.
Yeah.
So I cannot put one of those in there, even if it was long enough. It's too tall to fit.
So this Tacoma has a rack here. By the way, it says Toyota on it, so they're kind of expanding their accessories. This is not quite 7 feet, but this is getting close to what some of the heights requirements are, or maybe even garages, right? Parking garages around the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's why I was looking at the sales data for midsiders. They're growing, the entire market. I think they grew 20% year over year for all of the midsiders combined.
Yeah, and like I said, as the full-size trucks get more and more expensive, consumers are looking at what can they afford and what, can these trucks actually deliver what they need, what they want in a truck. And for what most people are using a truck for, going out and going to their big box store and buying 15 or 20 bags of mulch, you can put those in the back of a Tacoma or other midsize
or a
truck.
Maverick.
Yeah,
or a Maverick for that matter.
Maverick, or even a Hyundai Santa Cruz.
Are you surprised?
I've had 15 bags of mulch in the back of a Santa Cruz.
Yes. Are you surprised that like Toyota and many other manufacturers are not competing with the Maverick?
I am. I'm surprised that there hasn't been more movement in that smaller compact space. Toyota is working on the Stout, although from what I'm hearing, that program got pushed back a couple of years. So it may be closer to 2030 before we see it. I do expect to see at some point over the next several years at least one or two more compact
well, there's
trucks.
a lot of expertise in this area because every manufacturer has, there's a Corolla Cross, right?
Yeah.
They all have small vehicle chassis.
The Maverick and the Santa Cruz are both based on compact crossover platforms.
Yes.
And so you got Corolla Cross, you got RAV4.
Yeah.
Either of those could potentially be, a Maverick
candidate for that
type of vehicle.
And then you have Honda with a lot of strength in that area too, and many others, right?
Yeah.
So
Honda could do something below the ridgeline.
Yeah.
Based on the CRV or HRV.
I'm actually really hoping, and I don't know if I was listening to your podcast, Wheel Bearings podcast. I'm really hoping that, because the Pilot has been refreshed, I'm really hoping they do that refresh to the Ridgeline. And also there's the EREV plug-in hybrid tech, right? Mm-hmm. Not EREV, but plug-in hybrid tech coming to Hondas, right?
Yes. So I was in Japan in late October, for the Japan Mobility Show with Honda, and they took us to the Tochigi Proving Grounds, and they showed us their next generation hybrid and their larger vehicle platforms. And so we, there will be a next generation of the Pilot and the Ridgeline and the Odyssey coming off of this platform, and actually probably the new RDX that Honda just announced, next generation RDX that's coming in the next couple of years. And so that will probably be on that same architecture. And so, I definitely expect an all new Ridgeline based off that platform, and perhaps even something smaller.
Yeah, that would be really exciting because a lot of people forget that the Ridgeline is there, but it's continued since 06, right? It's almost 20 years.
It's been around a long time.
It's almost 20 years of Ridgeline. And I think
it doesn't sell in the kind of numbers of the domestic trucks.
Yeah.
But then again, because it's based on that same architecture with the Odyssey and the Pilot, and they're built on the same assembly lines, it's the incremental cost for Honda is not enormous. So it makes sense for them to continue building it if they're selling 35, 40,000 a year, which is what they've been doing.
Yeah, we keep an eye on a local used car auction, and Roman recently found and grabbed and bought a 2008
Yeah, I saw that
Ridgeline.
with what, about 200,000 miles on it?
Almost 195,000-ish, and I just drove it. We have a video about it, and it's really solid. After 195
You want one of these?
That's not a truck.
No,
That's a Cadillac Formula One.
but it'll
truck.
haul.
It will haul something,
Yes.
not mulch.
Yeah.
It
No.
won't haul mulch, but this will.
Yeah.
A Hummer EV will haul some mulch.
It will. It will. Absolutely will. Somebody in my neighborhood last fall or last summer actually, they had a Tesla Model Y and they got rid of it and got one of these instead.
And this is what we're looking at here is a Hummer EV pickup truck. 3X is a three-motor system, which is their most powerful. And this is a carbon edition because you need to lightweight a Hummer, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I first had one, I took it to the weigh scales. It was 9,200 pounds.
Yeah.
And I think you guys, because you put the larger tires on there. Yours
We put
was what,
37s,
94?
like 9,300 pounds, or maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm making a little bit of a joke of this, but there is carbon fiber, actual genuine pieces on this.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's what you need in a 9,000 pound off-road truck, right?
But also the wheels. So I was talking to some engineers. You could take maybe a close at the wheels. The wheels is actually kind of makes sense because you're removing unsprung mass. And also they were telling me a side effect that they found was the carbon wheel makes a little bit less noise as it goes over large events like potholes or something like that. So, which is important in an electric vehicle because you don't want to hear the noises coming from other components.
On the other hand, if you're going off-road and you hit some rocks with those wheels,
and scratch it?
Yeah, that's going to get very expensive.
I don't even know how much one of these would be cost, but I don't want to find out. Many thousands
Those are
of
probably
dollars.
about $6,000 or $7,000 each.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
Well, if you can afford a $120,000 truck, maybe you could tolerate replacing a wheel. I mean,
hopefully.
I don't.
I hope so.
But it's not for you and I.
No. It's a little out of my price range.
All right. So there's
you guys don't pay me enough to help with these videos, so.
I don't think we're paying you anything.
My point exactly.
So as we wrap up, there's a lot of indoor driving here.
Yeah.
There's actually combustion engines running around here too.
Yes.
So not just electric.
So don't breathe too hard.
So you could check out. I mean, there is good ventilation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, it's a big facility.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. But we have different brand new vehicles that you can take rides in, and also there is an overland area. Did you check out the overland area?
I did not.
You see that it's in the corner.
Oh, okay.
As we're kind of heading back, so Ford also had some news with RTR.
Yes.
RTR, and I want to ask you about this. If that's also another trend. So we talked about kind of lowered vehicles, lowered pickup trucks becoming a little bit of a trend. Also a trend of taking an aftermarket company like RTR that you see here with the Mustangs and the Broncos and actually folding it into the factory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, I mean, this is actually a trend that goes back to at least the 1960s. When Ford first teamed up with Carroll Shelby in the 1960s on the Mustang, the first few years, the original GT350s were built at Shelby American facility in California. They would ship cars from the Ford assembly plant to Shelby, pre-title. They would do the modifications, turn them into a GT350 and later GT500, and then send them to the dealers. And then eventually, Ford started building those in their own, right on their own assembly lines, based on the designs and everything from Shelby. That's pretty much what's happening right now with RTR. They started off having RTR taking pre-title cars, and, Mustangs and Broncos from Ford. And of course, Celine has done that for decades, and others.
There's Roush. Yeah. I mean, there's many number of companies.
And so, but the cost of doing that is much higher than building it in a factory. So, RTR is still offering their spec series Broncos and Mustangs. So if you want something really specific, you can go to RTR and they will order the vehicle from the factory. They will modify it, upfit it with their stuff, and then send it to your dealer for you to purchase. But now for the Bronco for 2027, they're doing the RTR versions right in the Michigan assembly plant, not far from here, about 10 miles from here.
Speaking of which, this is a great segue. I haven't planned that segue.
Okay. Those are the best kind of segues.
But the
ones that you just
segue,
kind of fall into.
the segue is that AEV, American Expedition Vehicle, is a separate company.
Fords.
And they're doing a Ford, but this Bison, what underpins this heavy-duty Silverado and this Colorado, that's done at the GM factory.
Oh, so they're doing it in the factory, on the assembly lines now, instead of at the AEV
so the
facilities.
bumpers, the skid plates,
Yeah.
some of the other components get shipped to the GM factory, and they get put on actually at the factory for the GM trucks.
Okay.
That's not happening with Ram or Ford.
Okay.
But now they also have the Ford FXL package on only 40s.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
well, how would it be worth it to do it with anything less?
No, no. But actually, it looks proportional, actually.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to show this to my neighbor, because my neighbor's been building his own overlanding rig. He bought, a couple of years ago, he bought an F550 chassis cab, and he got a Bowen bed put on it, and he's got a camper.
There's a camper here as well. Yeah.
And he installed a liquid spring suspension in it, and he put some 35s on it. It's a dually.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah, they look so cute. But he was concerned about going bigger than that, just because of the clearance. Because then he would have to start cutting up the front fenders.
Yeah.
But clearly, it's possible to put 40s on that truck. So I'll show it to Mark, and he may want to do that.
Well, there's a Dave Harrington, CEO of American Expedition Vehicles, is right there. I actually had an interview with him.
Yeah.
So we have a separate video on alltfl.com, and he walked me through every inch of this Ford.
Did they have to cut up the fenders to fit
Not
them?
a lot.
Oh, okay.
According to him, they did build special, very, very strong fender flares.
Okay.
You could knock it. Actually, it's actually built like a tube.
Oh, okay.
Like a shaped tube, so it has some strength in it.
Oh, very nice.
But this truck does sit. It has a 4-inch suspension lift, and the tire, because it's such a big tire, adds another about 3 inches.
Okay.
So we're talking about 7 inches of additional height. And I'm not a small dude.
Yeah.
And I'm standing next to this truck. So, but he said not a lot of cutting was involved.
Okay.
So it's almost like Ford had actually enough space in there.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that also kept my neighbor using 35s instead of going larger than that was the height when he puts the camper on. Because with the camper, it's almost 13 feet tall, and so when he first went to get it, he had some. He was concerned
because he's got a
flatbed
on it too.
Yeah, because he was concerned about going under some of the overpasses.
Yeah, but not just overpasses, but also to get in and out of it.
Yeah.
Because the camper, if it's sitting, 5 feet off the ground, you have to have like a staircase.
Yeah.
Just
like this one right here.
Yeah. You have to. So this is a truck house. That's the name of the body builder for the camper, and you can see there's a 4-step staircase, and there's a little bit of space even below it.
Yeah, Mark's I think has 2 or 3 steps to get up into it.
So yes, and now kind of AEV. They're having a lot better integration.
They're partnering with Truckhouse?
Basically, basically they're partnering together. So the integration is a lot more close.
Okay.
So you can actually buy this camper.
So maybe AEV tunes the suspension and everything the
chassis
to accommodate the weight
exactly.
of the camper.
And the capability, and you can see even the protection underneath.
Yep.
So it's all tied in together. So that's quite interesting. Well, I think we walked most of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's more than I actually thought when I first walked in here this morning.
Yeah, because
I hadn't even noticed all this back here.
Oh, and also, don't tell anybody, there's also U.S. Army in the corner here, and they have a couple of light vehicles that you can check out too. And I heard a rumor, I don't know if you heard about this tomorrow, that there's a new concept Abrams tank. Have you heard of this?
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard that they were going to be showing something. Yeah.
So I heard a rumor that there might be a tank coming out at the show as well. Not on this floor, because I think.
I don't know if this floor can support a 60-ton tank.
I think this floor would crumble.
Yeah.
But what doesn't crumble is when you have a light tactical vehicle like this.
Yeah.
Which is actually a Colorado.
Yeah.
It's a Chevy
Yeah,
Colorado.
it's built by GM Defense.
Yeah. So if you want to see some of these vehicles, just here's a little glimpse. Look how simple it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's
What
all
else-
you need
what else
for
do you need?
this use case. Yeah.
And what I noticed, Sam,
But are the seats heated and the steering wheel
no,
and everything?
but where are the gauges?
Good question.
I don't think you need to know.
Yeah.
If you need to know,
If you're driving over desert terrain, it's probably not that important.
no, it's all about. I'm not a member of the military, but I think it's just as slow as necessary or as fast as necessary,
Yeah.
right?
Depends what you're running from or running to.
Exactly. So we could interview some of the specialists here, but I'm guessing you don't need to know
We
a
got
lot.
more seats in the back too. So we got
Look at
what,
this.
eight seats altogether? Yeah.
Actually, five
Oh,
5
nine.
plus 4,
9.
9.
Yeah.
This is like a minivan.
Yeah.
Better than a minivan.
Yeah. Minivans only hold 7.
All right, Sam, I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's good to spend time with you.
I'll
Andre.
buy you lunch, okay?
Okay, thanks.
I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.